Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to share a quick prep work video with you about my next section of my 2017 travel album. If you see my other videos, I'll link them below, but I've been doing a travel album for the last 2 years, and I keep it pretty simple, mostly focused on the photos and things that we've done more so than doing a lot of embellishments or anything like that. But I like to keep a log of the trips that we take, since that's one of our favorite hobbies. And so my next section is going to be from our New York trip, and I thought, since I'm kind of starting the process right now, I would go ahead and share kind of what things I have and what my plans are, just in case maybe you're thinking about making a travel album and are not sure where to start or how to organize. Because if you're like me, you take a million pictures on trips and you come home with a ton of memorabilia, and it can be pretty hard to pare it down and to figure out how to keep the embellishments simple but not have it just be a photo album. So hopefully this gives you guys some ideas. Let me know what you think. You can see here I have this bag, and it is filled with all kinds of paper memorabilia that I brought home with me from the trip. I've also got my photos here, and since I'm doing the 6x8 size, I'm mostly going to be working with 3x4s and then the 4x6s. And as I go through my photos on my phone, I just try to pick a variety and my very favorites. And sometimes you have a cool photo or maybe a cool experience but not a great photo, and so I've learned to kind of remove those photos from what I'm going to print, because I know I'm already going to be printing so many things that a photo that is going to print really dark, or you know, maybe the memory is really great but the photo is just not going to look good in my album, I'm going to opt to just journal about those experiences rather than print them. So you can see, like, most of the photos here are pretty bright of specific things. And then also I make a habit of adding some text to some of the photos when I print them. So you can see, like, these were all the people at top of the rock that were in the way, and this was our view most of the time, so I just wanted to kind of capture that. We went to a lot of bookstores, so I'm thinking I'll do a whole section on bookstores, and I wanted to label which store was which on these photos. So I like to try to do that just to add titles without stickers, and it's also kind of like mini journaling as well. So that's kind of my process for when I'm printing these different photos. I also try to do some close-up shots of food, because I really, that's one thing we like to do when we travel, is try different restaurants. So yeah, you can just see that some of these are already going to have titles. Let's see. Same with the smaller pictures. I usually do a lot less titling on these, and I'm not sure if I did this time or not, honestly. It looks like most of these do not have titles, which is probably for the best because it turns out pretty small, but you can see, like, I did do one for the Disney store because these are the lanterns from Tangled, and you couldn't really tell what it is, so I feel like that label helps. And then also Times Square is pretty iconic, but it's not that beautiful to look at, and it wasn't really something that was, like, big on our list, but I wanted to include one photo, so I felt like putting a title over a picture of something that's really not very beautiful is kind of the way to go. So yeah, that is sort of my printing method for my photos. It usually works pretty well. For this particular trip, I'm waiting to print some of my photos from the Met because I really love art museums, and I kind of want to do some sort of special thing when I document that. So I haven't printed any photos of the artwork that we saw, only photos of the exterior, because I'm not sure what I want to do yet. I might try to do more small pictures or something like that. So my memorabilia is all in the bag from the Met, but I'll just show you guys kind of the sort of things I bring home. Usually these things don't all get included in the albums, but it can kind of give you an idea of sorts of things that you could use in your album. So I have some tickets for some events and musicals and Top of the Rock and stuff like that. I don't really like these kinds of tickets in albums for myself because they're, you know, just printed, but I think what I might do is if I don't put them on a page or in a pocket, I might just make a little envelope at the end like I have in some of my 2016 sections and just shove it all in the envelope so you don't have to look at it. I have our Metro cards. I bought a Fjallraven backpack while we were there, so I kept some of the paper that came with that, which is now evading me. Anyway, so I might use that. I've got playbills, a map to Central Park. I'm trying to decide how I want to put this in because it's obviously a very long map. It's much taller than what my album is, so I may fold it backwards and have like a back-to-back insert of this since it's so long. Oh my gosh, there's a helicopter outside. Sorry about the noise, guys. I have a menu from a restaurant we went to, some sort of just paper pieces from a bookstore. I have our boarding passes, our stickers from the Met, our key card and its little envelope from our hotel, business cards from some cute stores that we visited, the map from the Met, which is obviously huge, so this is what I'm trying to contemplate. I may insert it in a way that you have to remove it and then add some small pictures with a line maybe to where they are within the museum. But again, I'm not completely sure yet what I'm going to do. Even if I don't do that, I'll probably still put this in there because I think it's really pretty. I have our Anastasia tickets, a couple more business cards from restaurants, another menu. I have a subway map, which is obviously giant, so I'm not sure what I'll do with that yet either. I've done some fun things with maps in the past, so we'll just see. Another menu as well, which is pretty cute, so I'll probably include that. More business cards and playbills. Here's the rest of the stuff from my backpack. More playbills. I have both of ours in here, so I obviously won't use all of those. Then I also buy a lot of postcards on our trips, and I send out about 30 every time we travel, but I also try to pick up some extra ones for myself because I like to frame them and put them in our wall collages at home, but then I also sometimes like to include them in these albums. So you can see these are the ones I picked up. I really like the vintage looking ones, and then I often get them from art museums as well, of some of my favorite paintings at the museum. So yeah, I really like to include those. And I have one last playbill. So that's kind of the paper memorabilia that I typically bring home with me when we go somewhere. I think it would be very cool to include this bag, but it's like a little bit bigger than the actual album, so it may not happen, but I just think it's fun. So if you've seen my videos before for my travel albums, I keep it really minimal as far as my embellishing, and I like to mostly use stamps. So one thing I do a lot with travel is include the date. So I use my Heidi Swap date stamp, and then I use this largest label from the Purkey label set, and I usually cut it in half after I stamp on it so it's not quite as big. So I'll use those a lot, I know, within this album. And then I also have a lot of Purkey stamps, and usually what I do is either take a piece of glassine bag or kind of a neutralish washi tape or some white cardstock and stamp on those. So depending on the picture, if it's too busy, I'll use something thicker like the white cardstock, but if the picture is pretty solid where I want to put the stamp, I'll use a glassine bag or washi tape and just stamp directly on that with my StazOn ink. So I have a lot of food and travel stamp sets from Kelly Purkey. I will link the ones that I can still find below. She restocks her stamps a lot and gets new stamps a lot, and they go in and out of stock, so it's a little bit hard to get all of them in the link below, but I will do my best. So I have some food and travel themed ones. I got this in a Studio Calico Kit that was on sale, but I thought it could be fun to use some of these little icons. More food stamps. I also have a couple more Kelly Purkey stamps. This one is weekend themed and this one is favorite things themed, and I use them an awful lot, especially in travel, because then you can kind of say like what you were up to, you know, on the weekend, or what some of your favorite parts of the trip were. I also have this menu planning one from, I think it's meant for planners, but it can be really fun to use these small stickers or stamps, excuse me, on the pictures because the album size is so small. It's another one of her travel ones. This is a vacation planner stamp set. This one's really old, but it's pretty cute. And then I got the NYC one specifically for this album, so I'm excited to use it because I haven't really yet. I think I've used the pretzel once. Here's another travel planner sticker. Excuse me, stamp. They're stamps. Here's another one. I really like using these. They're kind of hard to see with all the ink on them, but there's a little box and they say, you know, we saw this, we drank this, we slept here, we loved this, we ate this, we were here. So they're really fun to add to the bottom of a photo. And then this one is a big city stamp set, which is really fun also to use in travel documenting. Even if you don't go to a big city, we go to museums a lot no matter where we travel. So this one just says museum visit, and I like being able to use things like that. Check out this view, viewing art pieces. Things like that are pretty fun to include. And I also like this box, not just for travel documenting, but just like a little numbered list. So yeah, so these are the main supplies that I'm using in my travel album. I will do a process video, or maybe several, because there's a lot of pictures here, more than my other two sections by far. So I will definitely do some process videos at that time, but let me know if you guys have any questions or comments. Tell me what you like to do for your travel documenting, and I will see you guys next time. Thanks so much for watching.